A lot of people are wondering how a person with complex PTSD might behave. And I think it's really important to first understand PTSD and complex PTSD and what they have in common and what they don't have in common. PTSD often happens because of one experience of an extremely traumatic event in which afterwards you're re-experiencing that event in some way, shape, or form. You may be avoiding any reminder of that event, and then you may have some hypervigilance as a result of that event. Individuals with complex PTSD, in the contrary, don't just have one event, they have repeated traumatic events. And so in addition to those three symptoms that you see in PTSD, you also notice three symptoms of a disorganization of self. And those things would include things like difficulty in regulating emotions or difficulties with relationships. You may avoid relationships altogether. And then a negative self-concept, just not believing in yourself. So the 15 things that you might notice in a person with complex PTSD would include 1, extreme emotions or mood swings. 2, difficulty calming down when they get angry. 3, self-destructive behaviors like self-harm, substance abuse, eating disorders. 4, suicidal ideation. 5, risk-taking behavior, especially in sex. 6, wanting to be perceived like a daredevil and taking huge risks. 7, not being able to remember whole parts of their life. 8, dissociation. 9, looking at yourself as damaged goods or broken. 10, tending to feel guilty even when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. 11, shame. 12, feeling like no one really understands you or what's going on with you. 13, digestive problems. 14, feeling hopeless. And then 15, feeling like you can't trust anyone else. Unfortunately, in the United States and in the UK, you actually can't get a diagnosis of complex PTSD. So oftentimes you'll meet the criteria for PTSD and potentially for borderline personality disorder, when in actuality what you have is complex PTSD. The reason you can't get a diagnosis is because none of the diagnostic manuals that clinicians are using have the diagnosis available. The only diagnostic manual that does is called the International Classification of Disease, and it has a complex PTSD diagnosis, but it hasn't been released and isn't being used in the US. So, if you have any more questions about complex PTSD, please go to my website, www.resolvetorise.com, or my Instagram, again, Resolve to Rise LLC, or TikTok, Resolve to Rise. Just let me know, or you can just send me a message in the comments section and I'll respond.